Hello, and welcome back to Trading Weekly. I hope we're all well. Stick it in the comments if you're doing well this fine Sunday afternoon. How are you doing, Kaye?
I'm doing great, Sean. It's great to be back again. What a monster week we will have, especially
Yeah,
coming up.
can't
Great.
wait to dive into it. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But before we do that, of course, we're just a couple of guys on the internet looking at charts. That's what we do. It's what we love to do, giving our perspective. So, of course, it's not financial advice. Go ahead and put your ticker requests in the comments. So obviously we get to them probably about 20 minutes or so. So stick them on in the comments section. We have had a few already, so there will be a little bit of a waiting list, but not too long, I don't think. And of course, finally, a massive thank you to Wolf as well for letting us use the platform. We couldn't do it without you. Really, really appreciate the support there. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel on Trading Weekly now. We obviously used to be called Trading Triangle, so you might be a bit confused around that sort of thing. But we've rebranded to Trading Weekly, and there's a few different changes on the spreadsheet as well, which you'll see. So, how was your trading last week, then, Kaye?
I think trading last week was pretty good. I was mostly in three tickers: HIMS, Nvidia, and Tesla. No, sorry, HIMS, Nvidia, and SMCI.
Yeah.
So it went pretty well. I would say all the three trades were profitable, and I look forward to the big trade for this week, which I'll be covering. So we did get the ticker Tesla, and Tesla I'll be covering as my pick for the week. So Saurabh, stick around for that. And how was your week for trade? Did you have any specific tickers that you traded this week, Sean?
Yes, I mean, last week we spoke about Google as my pick for the week, and I spoke about it kind of coming up to a certain point and come back down to retest a support resistance line. It did exactly that. So I took an entry, and then obviously the trade is maturing how it matures. I wanted to get to the gap fill ideally at 204. We might bring up the chart a little bit later on so we can talk a bit more through it. But yeah, that was the main trade that I've kind of entered. But of course, yeah, lots of little ones as well, a few day trades here and there using Edgeful platform, which is obviously really useful to get the probability and get the edge in your trading. If you're not familiar with it, just go search on Twitter. They've got quite a big presence on there. So yeah, if you into the kind of probability side, then check that one out. Right, so we jump into the slideshow then. Okay.
Yeah, let's get it. I know that we will cover the results, so I'll tell you about the ASML when we get to that. So
yeah, of course. I think I might be a notch under my belt. So yeah, we'll jump into that. Obviously, we have last week's performances from all the stocks. Really good week, as you can see, by plenty of the names. There's a few kind of laggers. You've got Meta down 2.5%, and Apple kind of trading flat, and Amazon only up 1% compared to the rest of the market, of course, because you've got Google, Nvidia, and Tesla all kind of up beyond kind of 4% plus, shall we say. Some other names on there, of course, as well, which I can't quite find them at the moment. Palantir 6% as well, always worth noting, and AMD right down the top, bottom left corner there, getting even further green days, up 10% last week. What are your thoughts on this slide then, Kaye?
I think the semiconductor sector is just picking up speed, and you can see the run in the Nvidias, AMDs, Qualcomms, all the ones are picking. And we also have somebody requested a ticker for Intel because they are reporting earnings this week. So another semi stock. So it's pretty hot. I mean, Palantir has been on a monster run from last, I would say, 6 months or so, right? It's crazy. And then the big one this week will be the Tesla.
It's been on a monster run for a couple of years, really, Palantir, to be fair.
Yeah,
it just keeps plugging higher. It's up 100, 150 now, something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Crazy numbers. And if you remember from the back in the lows of $7-8 when Palantir was trading at $7-8, crazy.
Yeah. Congratulations if you're reaping the rewards from that one. I know there's quite a few people that are doing that. So moving on, obviously we do have the fear and greed index, as we always bring up every week, and of course we're still in extreme feed. I was actually a bit surprised to see it kind of stagnate at 75. So it was 75 last week, 75 this week. I was expecting it to be a little bit higher actually when you brought this up on the slide. But what are your thoughts on the fear and greed? Do you think it would go a little bit higher given where we are?
I do believe that we may see a little bit more buying in coming in, as long as the earning is pretty spot on by these companies, especially for the Max 7, the big ones, right? So this week you have Tesla. I believe who else is reporting earnings? We'll cover that in the next week. Google, yes. And I think next week is Amazon, and then you'll have Apple. So as long as you have a decent guidance on these guys, the market I think will pull up as much as, because Nvidia doesn't report earnings for like maybe 3-4 weeks, so you
Yeah.
won't get to know on that one. But AMD will come up soon, probably next week, and it's going to be a big one to see whether their chips are, how's the demand for their new chips that are doing better than the Nvidia chips. So that's the whole thesis and the story behind it.
Of course, we had Netflix as well last week, and they did pretty well, didn't they, from their earnings? They had a bit of a drop the day after, but I think it got bought up during the day from memory. I could be wrong.
Yep.
But that's a good way to kind of start off the earnings seasons, as always. We do have a comment here from Sarab Mera, obviously up 1 a.m. in the Philippines. That's impeccable audience retention there. So, yeah, I hope we do you proud at 1 a.m. in the morning. You must be very, very tired. Let's talk to the left side of the slide. We've obviously got put call ratio at 0.64. VIX currently at 1641, making lower lows very gradually. SPY up just about 0.73%. We spoke about how much actually that feels a lot. It doesn't feel as big as it could have been, or at least how it felt. I will get my words out probably at some point. And obviously, key events, power speech on Wednesday, I think that is. No, Tuesday.
Yeah,
as well on
I
Thursday.
really don't know if that's going to move the market,
Oh,
honestly,
it
at
always
this point
does.
in
Always
time.
does.
Always does. You
Yeah,
think so?
always
Okay.
does. Maybe not the actual overall market in such a kind of 2 or 3, 4%, but it'll move it on a day, 1 hour time frame, 10-minute time frame, all that kind of stuff.
I see.
I'm sure lots of different traders will be looking for that. I won't be personally, but yeah, there's definitely a crowd out there looking for that. Let's move on to the next one. Upcoming earnings, as you mentioned, you've got Tesla and Alphabet there after the market close on Wednesday. I'm keeping a slight eye on Enphase after the market on Tuesday as well. Their fundamentals are not doing too well, but obviously we are talking about cutting rates a little bit more now, especially with everything that's going on with Trump and Powell and that kind of fiasco. He's kind of barking down at his neck, obviously to cut, and which is obviously going to be good for kind of solar stocks potentially. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Enphase. If I can get some good guidance, potentially on the outlook of the market, then that would be interesting. Although I'm not going to be listening to the earnings call because it's normally about 2 hours long, and I'm don't have that kind of time. What are you looking for on this slide, Kaye?
Definitely Tesla. Tesla is going to be the big one.
Yeah.
Tesla, Google. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to cover them on the channel this week as well. But then the next one I'm looking is at Intel, because Intel has a very interesting story. After they have changed the CEO, Intel is working for a turnaround. So the more guidance we get to know on Intel, the stock is what, like 23, 24, something like that right now. I mean, it could double from here onwards if the market really sees that, hey, Intel is actually on the path to recovery, as well as one of their new products that they are launching. I don't know if we're going to see that right away. It might be something that may take a couple quarters, 3, 4, 5 quarters for that to turn around. But it's looking very, very interesting at Intel side.
So you could potentially place a long-term leap on that, essentially,
You
if you
could,
wanted
you
to
could,
play calls on it. Yeah.
yeah, you could.
So that's an idea. I'm looking forward to seeing the chart. You say someone brought that up, didn't you?
Yeah, somebody did bring up Intel. So
Money Manage. Yeah.
Money Manage, yes.
Good to have you back as always, Money Manage. We do appreciate the constant watching. Yeah, no, looking forward to this week. Should be interesting. Intel could be a silent killer, perhaps. Moving on, we do have our picks from last week and all the weeks before. Obviously, last week I picked Google there at the bottom, and Kaye picked ASML. I got another notch under my belt. I don't know how, because I was only up 2%. But of course, you picked another earnings play, and it's a binary event, and these things happen. Any thoughts there, Kaye?
The funny part was that the ASML dropped. I think during the day it was down at a point around 11%. So it did gain by the time it closed, it was like a 4%, and then it kind of slid down the rest of the other days. So total we ended with a 7.39. But hey, listen, I was able to actually build on my long-term position when we got that 10%, 11% drop.
Exactly, and this competition is just a light-hearted competition. It means nothing, but of course we do it for a little bit of fun. Obviously, we do get, if for example, as Kaye just said, if it comes down 7%, it's presented him with an opportunity to add for the longer term. So yeah, that's
and guess what? I did not play this trade because remember last week I wasn't very sure how it's going to play out. And I was like, I'm not a big fan. And honestly, if I would have used an iron condor, I would have been in negative territory because it broke through the two the upside and the downside levels that we had actually drawn on the chart. It fell below that, and your entry would have been completely invalidated, and you would have lost 100% on that trade.
Yeah, and we don't like that, do we?
No.
So that is that. We'll talk a little bit about what we're going on a bit later on. So we'll move on to the first chart of the day, and that's SPY. But before we do that, we'll just chuck in the comments here. Put your ticker requests in the comments, and we'll get to it a little bit later on. We've got about 7 or 8 in the queue, I believe, so that will take some time to go through. So yeah, if you stick them in now, then of course there's a higher chance of you seeing your chart on the screen and getting us our perspectives. Man, I cannot talk today. I've too much sun. Too much sun. And of course, if you are in a very generous position, then do repost the stream. We really do appreciate it. Obviously, we are airing this on X. It's just a very simple retweet button or repost button, as we should say. So yeah, first chart of the day, and this is SPY Daily. So we've got for SPY Daily, we've got for QQQ Monthly, and obviously there's a few things to kind of talk about on these charts. Obviously, one is it keeps plugging higher. We're in a bull market very, very clearly. Potentially, if we do break down, this is the only kind of thing I'm looking at is we break down. We've got 3 gaps on the screen. We've got 600 is the first one, 566 is the second one, and 527. But I mean, at the moment, it doesn't feel like we're going to fill any of them, but eventually we probably will. So it's just those kind of gaps you should be having on your charts. Not saying it's going to fill anytime soon, but just have them on your charts. You could even select hide and then reappear it when the market does have a bit of a downturn. I've spoken quite a lot. So what are your thoughts on here, Kaye?
Well, I think the first gap that you have, right, that is, let's see. So if we mark that down, that's about a 5% drop. The second one is about 10%, and the third one is around the 15-20. So I don't know if we will have that much of a pullback of a 15%. Not saying we could not, but it seems from a probability standpoint looks highly unlikely. So the first gap, the 5%, I do think that we might even see it in the next couple of weeks. Now, keep in mind, generally the August and September months are red months or poor performance months. July is probably the best month after November. So if we saw all-time highs in SPY this month, we could see a 5% pullback and fill the first gap. It has to be tied up. Now, keep in mind, you have as long as Trump does not go back on his tariff extension, and if the tariffs go in place on August 1, guess what? You are going to fill that gap.
Yeah,
100% going to fill that gap.
There's lots of volume at that gap as well.
Exactly.
And you mentioned obviously the seasonality around it. And obviously pretty much most people are on holiday, or they should be on holiday, enjoying time with their families, etc., while the kids are off. So you do get that kind of decreased volume, that decreased activity in the market, and that decreased euphoria, essentially. So people kind of maybe sell some stocks, take some profits to fund their holiday, bit of spending money. So there is kind of a bit of logical thinking behind it as well. But yeah, no, like you, I do like that 600. It's also a very psychological level. Come back down, fill the gap at 600. Lots of volume there on the right side. Let me just point to that with the cursor. Below that, obviously, 10% is not out of the realm of possibility as well. And like you said, it could be linked to Trump very, very easily. So yeah, I mean, that's the daily on the SPY. We'll jump to the monthly on the QQQ here next. And you can't really see the MACD. Let me just change the view slightly. Where's that? There we go.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Got there eventually. So this is the monthly chart for QQQ, and you can see this incredible candle here. Really bullish hammer, and of course, following that, generally, even on the 5-minute chart, it could be a 30-minute chart. Generally, after such an aggressive hammer, you do see further upside. And at the bottom of this candle, obviously, we're around about 400-ish on the QQQ, up 40% since that bottom. It's just absolutely incredible recovery from the market. What are your feelings around this? I mean, the MACD is still pretty high. We're actually turning over to even further upside, at least on the indicators side of things. Doesn't mean everything, of course, MACD, but it is to be there to be looked at, of course. Yeah, I mean,
similar. I have similar sentiments on both the QQQ and SPY. As of right now, I don't see anything changing. We will get to know more once we go through Google's earning this week, Amazon and Apple's earning next week.
Right.
So that is going to give a lot more idea on how they are looking at the next 2 quarters for the year. That's basically the guidance that we'll be focusing on. And then really is the Trump tariff. Does it go into effect on August 1? Or do we get another extension? Because what could happen is, as the time is progressing towards August 1, we may start to see a little bit of a pullback, because now the tariff situation is coming to fruition. And then come August 1, they say, no, we're going to give another 90-day break, and the market may just rip up higher. So you might get a pullback for a couple percentage points, and then you see another high. That could possibly happen as well, right?
Exactly. So do watch out for that sort of price action on the screen. We talked about before, actually, about 5-6 months ago, we were talking about that sort of thing as well. So not saying that we're right, but it's just observations that we should all be looking at for sure. So that's it for the Qs. Obviously, very, very good performance in the last few years, really, since COVID. I mean, COVID is just here. It's really small and minor now, doesn't it, compared to where we are? But yeah, incredible moves from the market, of course. Let's move on to my first stock of, well, my only stock of this week, my pick of the week, which is Rubrik. Sometimes tricky to say, but of course, we can see on the screen here, it's a very simple bull flag setup. I've got kind of presented on the screen here. First of all, they are a semiconductor related stock. You can see the revenue has been growing basically since the Q1 of 2023, very, very nicely. And their cash position and debt position is actually pretty stable, which is nice to see. The debt is the red parts on the screen, so they are getting a little bit more. But the last quarter showed obviously decreased debt, which is always a good sign, especially if you're getting bigger cash, which means that they're making money and they're keeping that money. They're not quite net profitable yet, net income profitable. And obviously, this is also visualstocks.com. If you fancy these kind of nice visuals with the fundamentals, it's always quite handy to see them like that. So going into the chart, of course, we do have the bull flag setup, as I mentioned. I'm looking basically for a simple break with volume, to be honest with you. And if you look at this chart on your own charts, look at the 1 hour and the 2 hour charts. They are really, really bullish in terms of moving averages and the kind of volume, etc. So they look really, really nice to go into the next week. Obviously, very, very simple setup here. We've got a stop loss down here, kind of 81-ish, and a target price of about 102, 101, depending how your kind of risk reward ratio is there. So it's about 2 to 1. Here, I would take half my position, and of course, if it goes up higher beyond that, then I'll just manage it with the 20 moving average. I realize I've said a lot of words, but of course you can always rewind and just watch this again, kind of how I think about things when I'm doing my trading. But very, very simply, break to the upside, nice volume here to support that, and the moving averages as well. I don't have them on the screen, are looking pretty good as well. So yeah, simple 15% potentially. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out next week. What are your thoughts on this chart then, Kaye?
Well, before we share my thoughts, you got a comment from FinExcel about Rubrik. If you want to bring that up.
Oh, yes, of course. FinExcel. Been talking to him recently, joined his Discord, which is always quite nice. It's a good little Discord in there. But yeah, take care of revenue. Net profit will take care of itself, in my opinion. Of course, absolutely right. Of course, the more revenue you have, the more net profit is gained within the fundamentals. And Rubrik is a good pick. So thank you very much for your support there, FinExcel. Good to have you on the stream. If you've got any stocks that you want us to look at, I know you've picked up LITE there already, but if any more you want to put in the notes, and of course, happy to look at those. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this chart before we move on?
So I'm not that familiar with the stock itself, but this is a pretty standard pattern that I have noticed, at least you have been trading, right? You see a consolidation coming to a closure on the apex and then pretty much a breakout from there. I mean, as you can see, most of the volume has been consolidating in that little range. And so as long as there is some kind of a catalyst or some kind of a buying pressure comes in, we will see probably a breakout at some point in time, right? And now it could be next week, it could take a couple weeks for that to play out, or it could just do a sidebar. But I like how you are positioning this and looking for an upside to the top of the channel, which was back in the early June. So if we could see a bull run for the next week or so, you could actually see this playing out much quickly. However, as we're getting closer to the August 1 date, and if that happens, if the general sentiment goes down, you might see a reversal on this play as well, where you could see a pull down, a pullback from this apex. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm not going to be taking this trade. This is I don't really do a complete full breakout trades, but I like the setup here. for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate the input there. Of course, you did mention the fact that you've got a couple of weeks until that August 1 date. My kind of time frame for all this trade is about 2 weeks.
That's
I'm
perfect.
hoping for about 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but we'll see. So that actually kind of aligns with your thoughts there as well. And just lastly, I didn't mention it, but I've just seen it. There's a nice big hammer candle. We spoke about it on the Qs and the monthly, but there's a nice big hammer candle there that was set on Thursday, which is another kind of semi-indicator for future price action. So that's my pick of the week. Hopefully we can get another win under the belt for Team Sean. And for Team Kaye this week, we've gone for, what have we gone for? Is it Tesla? It's Tesla,
It is Tesla. It is absolutely Tesla. So with full disclosure, this is a trade that I will be taking this week as part of the earnings play. Most of the times I love taking earnings trade. It's binary, but I like taking them. It's not always a win. Many times it's a loss, but I do think from the current setup standpoint on Tesla, there's a lot of lines here, but I have my talking points and I'm going to kind of walk you through. So in general, they're going to report earnings on July 13th, which is on Wednesday after hours. The expectation is weak, right? Everybody knows it. The car numbers, delivery numbers are down. There's a lot of negative sentiment around. But then there is also bullish nature because everything is negative on the Tesla side. That's why I want to be bullish on the stock, precisely for a couple reasons. Number one is Elon Musk has finally stepped away from the government. Like that was one of the key ones. You notice from his latest tweets, he is talking less about Doge and everything else, political stuff. He's more focused on XAI, Tesla, SpaceX. So a lot more typical type of Elon Musk tweets focused on the work side. And that's what the Wall Street wants to see. We do have this symmetrical triangle forming, as you can see. It's a little bit different, but from the lows, and we had an equal high in February. So if we are getting to the closer to the apex of that triangle, generally you see a breakout or a breakdown based on a catalyst, and earning is the best catalyst you could get. Now, all the negative sentiment, in my personal opinion, has already been baked into stock price. The stock is down 19% or 18 plus percent year to date. So among all the runs that we have had for all other stocks, Tesla is still in negative. So there's a lot of momentum left for the stock to run. We did see, while I was looking for the option flow data, we saw that we got a 36 million call option flow for August at 350 call versus, so there's a lot more call options build up on Tesla for the August expiration as opposed to the put options. We are also seeing that there's a lot of sentiment about the robotaxi. Now, yes, the robotaxi launch was, I would say, not the big bang that they wanted to have. It was a much muted launch. We did see a little bit of a price movement, but bottom line is that event has happened, and it will only get better from here, right? So they launched robotaxi with a geofenced area with just the influencers. I was not a big fan of it, but still they launched it. They are expanding that geofence area within 2 weeks or 3 weeks of launch, and if they keep the same pace, think an year out for Tesla from here onwards. I mean, they will probably cover a lot more cities by that time. That's eventually going to start adding to the revenue. It might not be profitable right now, but it will at some point in time. So that's another thing. So what are the trade? I am going to be a bullish trade on this one. So it's going to be a bull credit spread here. A bull put spread here on the on this one. What are your thoughts? I talked a lot, so
You did, and I very much enjoyed it. You've got lots of great, valuable information within that speech, shall we say? But I think I'm going to take. You spoke about the kind of fundamental side and the kind of logical
bull
side
call
of the
spread. Sorry, it was a bull call spread, not a put spread.
Yeah. So we're going to look at the technicals a little bit more. There is actually another chart that's flown around by lots of other different chartists. I like to call them chartists. But imagine this kind of price action on the top here. There's actually a high somewhere up there. And if you draw a line from there down to where we are, we're actually at that trend line as well. We're at it now, which I'm sure you've seen. Of course, you've taken a little bit more of a narrow approach, and I like that as well, because it's a very simple pattern you've drawn here, especially after the move it made. It's kind of reorganized itself to create this pattern. So you could probably combine them both potentially. So I do like that. and also the MACD as well down here, which you can't see. I'll just change it. And of course, we do have the MACD just kind of curling over. It doesn't mean too much before earnings. It's very kind of a bit risky, but it is worth noting the fact that the stock it's ready to move. Whether it goes up or not is another question after earnings, but it's shaping up to make another move higher.
Yep.
We do have a question here again for Phoenix. We've got Tesla India sales will be the biggest catalyst soon. What are your thoughts on that, Kaye?
In my personal opinion, I don't think that's going to be the case. And the reason behind is that the price of the car is almost double. So for example, the car, a General Model 3, you get about $35,000, $36,000 in the US. The same car is available for $70,000 in India. And generally, the purchasing power of the general population of India is not that high. So yes, you will be able to sell cars, but will you be able to sell in volume? That I don't see that as something happening, right? That's not going to happen. Second, India's infrastructure for electric vehicle is nowhere near China. So most people, I get the FinTwit sphere here. Most of them haven't even been to India. They don't know how it is. So the point is, yes, Tesla is going to probably launch in the big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, a couple other, but the infrastructure is not there, and it's going to take, I don't know, many years before the infrastructure is really built for it. So I mean, they might make some money over there, but that's not going to be the real driving force for Tesla stock price. It has to be the robotaxi, autonomous vehicle. That is the real breadwinner for Tesla at this point in time. That's my personal opinion.
Awesome. That's why we do these streams, to get the kind of perspectives on the comments that we get through. So if you've got any questions or anything like that, obviously I know we do post it before the stream. But if you do have any other comments around anything, any stock really, we'll give our best thoughts and perspectives on each stock as we can do it. That's kind of it really for Tesla, isn't it? It's looking pretty good. One thing I would just mention is I kind of almost missed. I don't know if you said it either, but the kind of golden cross we've got here on the screen.
Yeah, that's like a mashed
Beautiful
dish over there for all moving averages. Everything is piling up there, and that's why I think the earnings is going to be the key here. We will probably see a breakout on the bullish side, because everything is negative on Tesla at this point in time. Apart from if you get out of the Twitter phase, everything is negative on Tesla. In Twitter, yes, everybody is positive on Tesla, but everything outside Twitter is very negative, and that's why I feel like the earnings is probably going to provide the guidance on the robotaxi autonomous vehicle that may push the stock up higher and break the equal highs. I'm only targeting the equal highs for February. That's it.
I do think it'll be interesting actually if we do see negative price action, say it's down 5-10%, if it gets bought back up. Because if we come back down to kind of this level here, which is obviously pre-resistance, got lots of support here as well, just that line of about 280. If we come back down to there after earnings, which is about 10% ish, then it'd be interesting to see if it gets bought up from that, because that would be really bullish for the future.
So 10% is your actual move post earnings on Tesla on average.
So there's a potential scenario there to be had if you're looking for bearish momentum. Yeah.
So the trade that I am actually publishing actually takes into account, because even though I'm placing the trade before the earnings, it does not expire on the earnings week.
There you go.
So I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. And we've actually, that kind of hands nicely into the next slide. We've spoken about our picks quite a lot this week. We're actually at the half an hour mark already. So what have you got going on, Kaye? I'll let you go first, because you just kind of spoke to it just a second ago.
Yeah, so the trades I publish them on Substack. It is a paid subscription, so if you want to follow it, give it a shot, try it out and see if it works for you. YouTube, I have been taking a little break lately, so it's going to be, I'll still be on break on YouTube, but you'll continue to see a little bit of tidbits of information here and there. X, I post on a regular basis, so follow me there.
And the reason he's taking a break is because it's very busy at the moment, with a little one kind of running around. Well, not quite literally running around, but for me personally,
but he's keeping me,
keeping you
completely occupied. Yeah, exactly.
For me, obviously, we've got YouTube. I do post there fairly regularly, at least from my schedule, and it's all about kind of trading education. It's nothing kind of live. It's more kind of evergreen channel, so you can kind of learn things about trading. And if you're kind of a novice or experienced or anything like that, it's always handy to kind of watch those videos. I do try and err on the side of psychology as well. So it's a big part of trading, as everyone knows. And of course, obviously, X, that's kind of, I post there daily. I post my trades on X as well. So go ahead and give me a follow there. I really do appreciate it. And with that, we'll jump into the audience request section. A little bit late today, aren't we, Kaye? We should have
I think
sped up a little bit.
we spoke a lot on your pick and my pick this week.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. So what have we got first then?
The first one we have is Oscar, OSCR, which is a pretty popular FinTwit stock.
It really is, and it's taken a bit of a beating recently, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Are you in this one, or have you been in this one?
I have not, but it's on my radar. I just haven't done the due diligence to actually get into the stock. But it's definitely on my radar.
So I haven't posted anything on this in the last. I've just kind of been letting FinTwit take the take the reins on this stock. But for me personally, I made a buy on Friday. Well, my words today are really all over the place. But I did make a buy on Friday just because of that level of interest down at the bottom of the trend line, coming back down to this 200 moving average on the weekly chart, which is always key to kind of have under the belt. Going into the daily, let's go into the daily here. Have you noticed my laptop's a little bit better this week, which is good.
Did you buy a new one?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I've got my car going into the garage next weekend, and I want to see how that goes first, because it's not a young car. So
I hear you. I hear you.
But once that's cleared, I'll definitely be purchasing a new one. But yeah, on the daily, obviously we are below all of the major moving averages here, which is not ideal, and below the kind of volume that you see on the screen. But we are at this key level of the kind of trend line. We did see a little bit of movement off that as well on Friday. So I think this week will be very much key for Oscar's future. If we have a little bit of a punch down, maybe to 13 potentially, and then the reaction at 13 will be very, very key. I wanted to kind of come straight back up to 15, just to get that momentum, that excitement back into the stock, which it's very clearly there. You said it yourself; it's a very popular stock on FinTwit. So that's my kind of thoughts on Oscar. Have any further thoughts?
Well, I think in my case, let's say if I want to build a position here, I would not get in at this point in time. I would actually wait for the trend to change. And also they report earnings on 8/7. So we might hear some more catalyst and there might be more downside, built into it. So I would wait for if I haven't built the position or I'm not already in a position where I can dollar cost average to lower my cost basis, I would still wait for the trend to change. I would at least want it to consolidate, because if you go and take a look at the United Healthcare stock, you would have thought, hey, the 300 is a great number, right? The 300 level is a great, we can just get in because it was consolidating. But now the stock is down to 282 and it even dipped to 243 at one point in time. So as you can see, sometimes it takes the stock a little bit longer for it to consolidate and change its direction. Yeah. So that's why you don't, start a position on a falling knife. You wait for the consolidation to happen and then build. Now, again, there are a lot of stocks, like let's say if you would have bought Palantir at 7 and SOFI at 5 or 6, whatever it is, right? That's a different type of a scenario. Something like this, I would say if you haven't built a position, I would wait.
Fair enough. The earnings, as Kaye mentioned, is actually this yellow line, so it's just around the corner now.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks. What's up next, then, Kaye?
The next one is SOFI, actually. Funny.
SOFI.
I haven't brought up SOFI in so long because I was already in a trade, like a multi-month trade, a big swing trade. And I had basically opened a $15 put on SOFI. I was selling a put, so which means that I wanted to buy the stocks at $15. And the stock has basically took off. And I have 5% premium left to take out from that contract. So I could always close the contract with 95% profit, or I can just wait a couple more weeks for the stock to, hover. But at this point, I'm like, this is great. When are they reporting earnings? Let's see. They report earnings on 7/29 next week. So we could see we could see a pullback there, because generally SOFI, even though they report great earnings, everything is great, generally the stock will pull back on the earnings.
We can see it on the chart now. I mean, you've got the earnings up here on the day, straight back down.
Yeah.
Another set of earnings here, straight back down after the day. Even though they're good earnings, they're good projections for the future. It's just one of those stocks that sells off after earnings.
Exactly. So I would wait for the earnings, and I would probably build up on my position, with any pullbacks over here.
Awesome. Yeah, it's hard to buy at these levels. I know it's a very longer term stock, and lots of people talk about that, and I completely agree with that. But for trading perspective, it's very hard to buy for the long term here.
Yeah.
Just because you trade on signals and patterns, etc. At least I do. Anyway, what's next, Kaye? I think you said
Next
that one.
is
Okay.
CLSK.
CLSK, CleanSpark. I've seen this one for a while. Oh, we're starting to get a little bit slower. It will eventually load. It's doing okay today. It's not as loud as well, which is good. Awesome. Right, here's CleanSpark. Obviously, the recent Bitcoin move and Ethereum move, actually, really, because Ethereum has been flying recently, has obviously prompted lots of Bitcoin-related stocks to kind of move with it. You've got CLSK, as we've got here, Riot, Mara, all the kind of little names as well. This one, I mean, should we go back up to the weekly? That might be a bit easier to kind of see. Again, it's kind of hard to buy here. Maybe if it comes back down to this $12 level, could be
Yeah,
an
and that is
entry.
the last wick is basically a doji candle, right? So the market is probably assessing at this point in time, where do we go from here on the weekly, if you see the last one.
Yeah, I do actually. So there's a big volume gap here on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have a potential here just to kind of fly through this price action.
Exactly.
If it does break from here,
So
that's
that
a
is what.
nice. That's a good 26% right there.
Wow.
That's really nice. But you have to look at kind of the entry on that. Let's go into the daily. So we've done our research on the weekly there. Let's try and potentially see a bit of an entry for the daily. I think maybe just a clean, like we mentioned, actually, to be fair, back down to $12 here. That should coincide after a couple of days price action, maybe even 1 day's price action, should coincide with the 20-moving average here. Obviously, the previous trend line as well, and obviously all the volume. And then hopefully a fairly straightforward move, straight 27%. So this one's actually very, very exciting. Who brought this one up?
CleanSpark. Let's
That's
see.
one of the X suggestions, wasn't it? One of the X suggestions.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry if we've obviously forgotten your name, but well done for bringing this one up. This is obviously a good one for lots of viewers watching as well, potentially. Just be careful when you're trading these names because they are very, very volatile. So have that stop loss in place, have that risk management ready to go. What are your thoughts on this one?
No, I think I like it, especially with the way you are tracking it. The pullback around the 12-10, entry point, and aim for that the 20-25% of run up to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Next up
Awesome.
is another very popular ZETA, ZETA. Again, I don't know what it does, but I've been seeing a lot more tweets and YouTube videos on ZETA.
Yeah. Getting a little bit stickier now, which is a bit annoying. I don't know what it does. I have looked it up before, but I can't remember what it is. Maybe you could get
Yeah,
a description.
I have it here with me. Give me
Oh
one
wow,
second.
look at that.
So they operate an omni-channel data-driven cloud platform that provides enterprise with consumer intelligence and marketing automation software in the US and internationally. So they analyze billions of structured and unstructured data signals, predict consumer intent by leveraging sophisticated machine learning algorithms and industry opted in data for omni-channel marketing and consumer data platforms. So this is a $3.6 billion company with a short interest of almost 12%. So I'm assuming most folks are looking for the short
Squeeze.
short squeeze over here. Earning wise, they do bring in about $260+ million in revenue, and their upcoming, which is they're reporting earnings on 7/31, so next week, they are expected to bring about 300 million, 296 million. Their earning history, they haven't missed any revenue, but they have had misses in the EPS, and they have come in line multiple times. So there are the misses here and there on their earnings history.
From a chart point of view, I've written it down on my list here because I don't hate it because you've got this previous trend line which has gone through most price action. So you've got support here and obviously come back down. It did eventually break, but it's acted as resistance almost 3 times, on the third time being this occasion here. then it's come back above, use the 200 moving average, come back down and use this as support. It's 3 different support zones. Actually, the entry price, entry zone would have been, I think, around this level of $14, $14, I guess, $14.50 maybe, something like that. Would have been it would have been a risky entry because you've got this gap down below, so you would have assumed that if it breaks that, it would just fill that gap. But moving forward from that, we've got this simple rejection here at 200 moving average. If it comes back down to this level of say 15, could be worth an entry, but I'm not sure. It's not refined enough for me. I've written it down to see if it does break the 200, then maybe I'll get into it. But
yeah, and I really think that if you don't have a position, I think you should wait for the earnings to play out, because a 200-day SMA coming up with earnings coming up, any weakness in the EPS, revenue, future guidance will push the stock down. Again, keep in mind these are high beta stocks, so they will go down much faster and in a very large percentage point compared to some of the big names.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So this one might just be a little bit too risky for our appetite. That's what I was trying to say. Earnings once again reflected here with the yellow bar kind of flowing through the screen here. What's next, okay?
Next is Webull, and interestingly, I use the Webull platform for my charting.
There you go. You can have a look at this one first then, once it loads.
There
you go.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, I just wonder, is it because Robinhood took off, and that's why people are now looking at getting into
sympathy.
Webull?
Yeah, sympathy play for sure. Gotta be.
I don't know.
But the volume is insane.
Nowhere near Robinhood.
No, of course. But you take these you take the sympathy plays quite a lot in these types of markets.
Yeah.
In bull markets. I mean, just look at GME with AMC back in the day. So yeah, I mean, you've got that as an example. But it looks really interesting because the volume is massive and you can't quite see it. I mean, it's next to you on the screen there. Look at that.
Is that a daily or a weekly?
This is the daily chart.
Wow, that's
It's double. Friday was double Thursday. What's the short percentage on this? Short interest, sorry.
Yeah, the short interest is 1.23%.
Oh wow, that's actually nothing.
That's nothing, yeah. But it has Wall Street doesn't even cover this stock yet.
No, I mean it only came into play April, beginning of April.
So May, June, July. So generally takes about 3 months plus for the analysts to start covering the stock. So you probably will start see some coverage at some point in time in August, September.
I think if we get through this $17 level, I think I've obviously done some sort of research on this before because this seemed to be here already on the chart, $17. If we break that level, could go to anything. I mean, you'd probably have to dive down into the smaller time frames to get some more resistance, but maybe here, something like 26. Yeah, if we come back this time next week, if it gets to 26, then we know we've done well.
Yeah. I think a good idea, again, you could play these instead of like buying the stocks outright and being in a negative, position, because sometimes these stocks, they take time, right? Maybe it takes a year or 2 years. Maybe leap calls could be a good option because that will be a cheaper way to buy the stocks or the options contract and control 100 stocks. And
if it did potentially get this move, then you would be able to benefit off that straight away.
Yeah, like for example, let's say when the stock pulled down to, I don't know what, like 3-4 level, right? What is that? $10 level, right? If you would have bought a leap call, I mean, you could benefit this way. I mean, for these kind of stocks, if I were trading, I would use a leap call because first of all, my outlay will be less. I don't have to put, let's say, if I want to own 100 stocks today, I'll have to buy this for $1,689, which is $1,700.
Yeah.
It would not cost me $1,700 to buy the call option for, let's say, two years out for buying at the money.
All right, what should we go for next? We've got quite a few tickers left, so we need to
so let's go a little bit faster. So next up is DLO.
DLO. This one was quite popular with FinTwit as well, wasn't it? I never really looked into it personally. But
I did not actually get anything on my. Maybe it is. I didn't see anything, but there are a lot of gaps here on this stock. I'm noticing.
So you've got the gap here above
What
about
a chart.
1370. So we are actually in a fairly good position. So it looks like we've kind of broken this trend line that I've obviously drawn probably on the weekly by the looks of it. And you've got the moving averages down below, the 20, the 50, and 200 are kind of floating here below. So maybe we can get that as a bit of support. We've got the volume here on the right side. It's a tricky entry, but it'd be a nice tight stop loss. So it wouldn't be too bad. If we were to enter maybe somewhere, let's just say 1080, tight stop loss, and a potential of obviously going to the gap fill, which is over here. That's 26% move. So that's not too bad. That's pretty good. So there is potential for that move to play out. It's not one I look at. It's not really what I'm interested in or care about. You've also got here, actually, by the looks of it, trend line.
Interesting.
Kind of there. So you do have a really good stop loss point. So
And the green
risk to reward, really good. 6
the
to 1.
green line is a 200 SMA, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So the risk to reward there is actually, risk to reward ratio, should I say, is 6 to 1, which is actually really good. So maybe I will have a look at this. I have to do a little bit more research. You'll know if I take it because it will be on X most likely. So,
all right. Next up is HCA. I'm not sure what this is.
who? ACA.
H as in horse. It's a healthcare stock. CA, yeah. What do they do exactly? So they are a hospital system. I see. Interesting. And it's a 87 billion dollar company. Short interest is 1.55, so pretty low. Is there anything specific on this stock that has happened? Let me see. Year to date,
It's the first time I'm hearing of the stock.
it's up 20% year to date. It's a pretty expensive stock, also, right? $300. Not expensive, but it's not a cheap stock. So
It's gone nothing but up actually this whole year.
Yeah. I mean, year to date is up 20%. So that's
got higher highs and higher lows, which is always a good sign. I don't like to buy it here, of course. I would like to see it come back down to the trend line and the 200 moving average down below very clearly, which is also previous resistance. So that is a buy point for sure.
Do you want to take a guess how much revenue they bring every quarter?
Oh, I don't know.
Just take a wild guess.
50 million?
18.32 billion.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I mean, the stock is $361 actually. I didn't really take that into account.
But still, it's, yeah.
I have to look that one up on visual stocks to see what it's like.
You should definitely look in their net income. The net income is quarterly 1.8 billion.
That's
I did
a
not
monster.
know this one, but I'm going to put that on my radar.
Yeah, that is a monster.
It's a monster of a stock. All right, next up. So we're not buying it right now, right? What's the trade here?
No, but we're buying it at 350.
350 or 345 is a. Okay, got it.
Yeah, 350 is the 3 points of confluence, so that's a good spot.
Next is APH.
Amphenol Corporation.
Let me see.
Where are these names coming from?
Yeah, I mean, this is a $125 billion market cap with 1.32% short interest. They design, manufacture, and market electrical, electronic, and fiber optic connectors in the US, China, internationally.
The chart is, you cannot buy this.
Yeah, this is electronic components.
You cannot buy this chart. It's hard. We've got lots of gaps, which is interesting.
This is crazy, right? I mean, this gap that they had in middle of April, they were a $65 stock and it ran up. So if you bought it at that point in time, you're sitting pretty handsomely.
Yeah. No, we'd be buying it here for sure. I mean, the technicals, they'd have to come down to at least 92 for me to get interested. But I'm not interested in this one.
I mean, as you can see, I mean, if you just look at the ticker, it's not a very popular ticker, right? Not everybody knows about the ticker, but this stock has returned you 57% in a span of like 3 months.
Yeah, no, it's
So
incredible.
as they say, you can make money in stock market. It doesn't have to be the most popular stock out there. Next one is Intel.
Intel, I know this is one of your favorites. We spoke about this before the stream as well. So
Exactly. I really think
go for it, Kaye.
I really think that this stock, if the turnaround story sticks, which you can see in Nike is slowly changing, right? Starbucks has changed as well. I feel Intel is on the similar path. Now, would it happen this quarter? I don't know. For me personally, I would love to get into the stock around the $22, $21 mark. So it's not like a make or break for $23 entry point, because we do have this gap up, the gap fill that we can. That's a 23%, 24% gap fill that we have from the drop that we saw back in August of 2024. And I think if you look at the shorter time frame, we are seeing higher highs and higher lows from the short time frame, right?
From like the hourly type thing. Yeah, here
So
you can see that on the screen.
yeah, so the earnings could pull the stock up and may fill the gap, but I'm still not super. I want to wait for the earnings to play out here before I actually decide to build a position.
Yeah,
Because
for
this would
sure.
be
I
a
mean,
swing trade, not a earnings play.
no, it's too risky for Intel. I mean, we've seen it so many times with Intel. It's up 3 or 4%, down 15% on different earnings reports.
Exactly.
So it's always. I know you like to trade earnings, and I used to, but I don't really do it anymore, just because it was a bit too emotionally destroying once you
Oh, it
get one
is.
wrong here and there. But it's trading. That's how it is, of course. But I do like to react from earnings reports. So
I
if
have
there's a
more.
particularly
I have more losses in earnings trade than I have on my regular trades. By the way, I lose more often on earnings trade, but I still take it
yeah, no, of
because when
course.
I win pretty big on earnings. That's the thing.
It's your risk appetite. It's kind of your playbook, and that's fine. There's lots of people have different styles of trading, and that kind of works for you. We do have
I
a question. We do have a question.
DRKL, they're asking when is the earnings? It's on Thursday. I'm assuming you're asking for the earnings for Intel. It's
Yeah,
on Thursday after market close, so that would be what 24th.
24th, and that's the orange line on the screen there for you. For me, for Intel, it has to break this kind of 25-50 level, come back down and retest it and move higher, just because it's my strategy, kind of
Yeah,
how it works.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Next up is LITE, LITE.
LITE. This one was done by FinExcel.
Yep. We have a lot of tickers to go through, so we'll go a little bit faster on this one from now.
Okay, so LITE. This is the first time I've seen this one. Don't even know what this one does.
Yeah, I'll look it up while
have
you do this. Might have to do with some is it crypto stuff? No, so they manufacture and sell optical and photonic products in US and internationally.
you were
So
thinking of
cloud and
Litecoin.
networking industrial tech, basically, if you think about it.
It's kind of in this little channel at the moment. You could potentially have that as a breakout.
It's also a high short interest, 16.95.
Okay, could get a bit frothy. I think if it comes back down to 96 to retest that area, that will coincide with the volume and the 20 moving average. That's where I'd be interested. And of course, beyond that is a different question, but that would be an interesting entry point for me. I like that, actually. I'm going to write that one down.
Next is OPTT. It's a penny stock.
It's a frothy market when penny stocks come into the mix.
They develop and commercialize proprietary power platforms that generate electricity by harnessing ocean waves in US and other places.
It's made a move, hasn't it? Look at that.
Definitely
So it's
has.
gone up from just in the last 3 days from 56 cents to 72 cents.
Yeah, and their 1 year high was $1.16. So I see why a lot of folks might want to be getting into this one.
You could trade this. You'd have to wait for it to come down probably to 65 if it gives you the opportunity, because these types of stocks don't often give you the opportunity to come back down. They just fly, they just go. But if it comes back to 65, potentially you get entry, but I prefer an entry down a bit further down to 60, just for market structure, then go up to kind of 95, $1. But I don't trade penny stocks. They're not in my wheelhouse. But that's my thoughts.
Next is TRX. It's a gold corporation. It's also a penny stock. And they're a junior gold mining company, engages in exploration for gold in Tanzania. Very specific.
A strange name. Technically, it looks pretty good. Obviously, the volume is really not good because you've got all these jagged candles on the daily. I imagine volume is quite low, Kaye. Well, it must be. It's 0.33.
Yeah, and the market cap is less than 100 million. So, well, Wall Street has a strong buy on this one.
Really?
Yeah, Wall Street has a strong buy. You have 3 analysts covering this stock. So,
I mean, to be fair, there is, judging by my 3 eyes here, that's not too bad. Because you've got a trend line that's kind of come back above, come down to retest it, with lots of moving averages here. So there is a chance this goes from 33 to 40 pretty quickly, which is about 25%, something like that.
yeah. I mean, see, from a trading perspective, 25% return on a trade is pretty
15%.
amazing. Yeah.
That's completely wrong.
So, how much?
15%.
Still, I would say on a short-term trade of 15% gain, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Not everything is a 300, 400, 500%, right? People have really assume that every time you can get those multi-bagger returns. Those are mostly on long-term stuff.
And of course, my strategy being the fact that if you sell half your shares at this point, it's blocking those profits, and then if it does go 300-400%, then that's great. You've made even more money. Tight stop loss here around 32, I think, is definitely needed though, because it's below the moving averages. You could even drag it down below this previous trend line, but then you're looking at least 10%, which is a bit of a stretch for a stop loss for me.
Yeah, but also the problem is the stocks like these, if you go in a downtrend, the trend reversal takes a long more time compared to some of the bigger names.
100%.
Next is MSTR.
MicroStrategy.
Yeah, I mean, this is like another, I would say, a big name, right?
Yes, this one obviously moves very, very nicely with Bitcoin because all they do is raise money and buy more Bitcoin.
But listen, this is one of the most popular stocks on stock for options trade, right? For selling options, this is one of the most popular stocks. Yeah,
huge.
It's massive.
Michael Saylor, the CEO, he talks about that quite a lot in the last couple of earnings calls around the kind of options trading and the volatility around it. On a technical level, definitely down towards this kind of 400 level would be a level of interest for me. If I was going to get in this, just because you've got the previous trend line here, the grey one, support resistance at this white line, of course, the 50-minute average coming in nicely, and all this volume profile on the right side. So if it does come down to 400, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
on my list.
And if you're selling us, options on that, you'll get a good $4 on per stock. So that's pretty awesome. Next is a name we haven't talked about, GME.
GME, wow. Another example of the market of where it is.
People who became, I think, multimillionaires, right, with GME?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. My laptop is slowly giving up.
Well, no worries. We only have one more left, so we can quickly wrap this up, and the last one, and we can close it out.
Cool.
What do you say about GME? I mean, I don't even know how to trade these ones, the meme stocks.
Oh, you just have to kind of go with momentum, keep a tight stop loss, and just run with it. That's my kind of guidance on it. Where it is at the moment, though, it's not. I mean, we're at a lot of. This is a weekly chart, so we're at a lot of moving averages here. There's not really much going on generally. When it comes up, it comes straight back down. So it's kind of in a range. For me, it's untradeable. If you like having a little bit of speculative effort and maybe keep it on a very, very small percentage of your portfolio, then that's fine. But it's not something I'll be doing.
Yeah. And also, I think you can probably play call options on this one. Might be, it is definitely much cheaper than buying the stocks.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up is Trip.
Trip, and then we've got open as well, and that's the last one of the day.
Yeah, trip and open. That's it.
Open door has been going mad actually, so it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Wasn't that Chamath's stuff?
It
Chamath
was a
had,
long time ago, yeah.
yeah, Chamath SPAC. I remember that. TripAdvisor. Did TripAdvisor ever do a stock split, or is it just always has been $17 kind of a stock?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Let me see. So this stock all-time high. Oh my god, all-time high was $104, $110 actually.
You think about it. I mean, this stock. And what do they do? They provide reviews. They give you insights on kind of restaurants,
Yeah. You book.
vacations,
You
and all that.
it's an agent, right? You basically can buy. You can see reviews. You can buy tickets. You can even book flights over there now.
It's frozen, so I can't do much.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. It's loaded.
Okay.
This is.
Okay. But
yeah,
can't believe that the stock
in a
was
good place, is it?
$110. Crazy.
Unfortunately, I think we
Tradable,
might
not
have to
tradable.
end it here in terms of a functional stream. I mean, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. We'll run with that. We'll get rid of the chart. I'm so sorry, CPR engines open. My is just off. So hang on, I am trying to click buttons here. There we go. Maybe we'll do a separate one. I'll look at CPRE and tag you in it afterwards. And then we'll have a look at that one afterwards. But yeah, it's been an enjoyable stream. We've got lots of different tickers. I've got 8 written down on my sheet. I don't know how many you've got written down. How many you've got written down?
I have like few of them. I took the HCA. That's the big one for me personally.
Well, there you go. Awesome. So that's been a really good stream. Obviously, good perspectives. Massive thank you to Wolf as the platform. We really appreciate it. It's a very interesting market at the moment. Obviously, things seem to be just continuously going up. So just be careful of where you are and your trading. You make sure you're still following your rules, and don't be afraid to take profits. It's not the end of the world if you want to take a few shares off the table. And it doesn't have to be all of them. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. You don't have to anticipate the market top because no one can do that. Not even the best investors or traders in the world can do that. So if you're a bit hesitant around kind of where the market's going, there's no harm in taking profits. Yeah, thank you very much for watching once again. Kaye, do you want to finish the stream with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, as Sean said, be safe. And I specifically talk about the earnings trade. If you don't like earnings trade, it's a very binary event. Don't take it. Just enjoy the show and see how it is. You can always do paper trading on earnings trade and see how it plays out, because that really requires a risk appetite. And as I mentioned, generally earnings trade, because it's a binary event, you may see more losses compared to the number of wins. And with that said, I mean, be safe, enjoy, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Trade safe, and we'll see you next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, once again, to go through all the charts and all the market happenings. So yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Take care.
Is that okay?